What's up, self-healers? Lisa Lightfeather here. Welcome to my channel, Closing the Gap, where we make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. Thank you all for being here today. I appreciate you. Today, I want to speak on the topic of narcissism and jealousy. So, the narcissist walks with a aura of confidence. Yeah? They walk as if they have this deep inner knowing. And to the untrained eye, they appear that way, right? But really, where the rubber meets the road, the narcissist walks with a deep-rooted jealousy. The narcissist can be beautiful, they can have money, they can be in a beautiful relationship, they can have a beautiful house, a beautiful car. Everything that society says that equates to happiness, right? And they walk with this confidence and this inner knowing. Y'all have to excuse me, my hair is growing back, and I didn't take into account how itchy that would be. All these little stubbles. Anywho, so they walk with a deep rooted fear, and their fear is being exposed. That's what their deep rooted fear is, being exposed. So they have to keep this mask on at all times. But deep inside, there's an emptiness. Yeah. Remember that the narcissist does not have a core. They don't have an inner knowing. And so they put a whole lot of energy into creating this facade to look like that they're secure about themselves. They compare themselves to everyone. They compare themselves to you. They compare themselves to people on social media. They compare themselves to other family members. And anybody that appears that they are coming up in any way. It doesn't have to even be real. It just needs to appear that way. The narcissist will be jealous of that. Now, the narcissist, like say, for example, the narcissist could drive a 2025 Range Rover or a 2025 Cadillac or whatever the 2025 Tesla, right? And their friend could finally scrape up the money to go down to the used car lot and get a hoopty, get a beater, what we call them. The narcissist will be jealous of that. And the reason the narcissist is jealous of that, not that the beater is better than the 2025 Tesla by any means, but they're jealous of that because it's a sign that they're losing control over the person that went down to Bob's used cars and got a hoopty. They're weird clowns. Because as long as their friend had nothing, then the narcissist feels like they're winning. But if the friend gets something, now the narcissist feels like that they're losing control over the so-called friend. Although they may drive a 2025 Tesla, they still walk with a scarcity mindset, like there's not enough to go around. And they believe that there's not enough money, there's not enough love, there's not enough attention, there's not enough anything going around if it's not coming to them. So as soon as the other person looks like they are getting something better, they might move out of the hotel and move into an apartment, or they might go from riding a bike to getting a hoopty. The basic bottom of the line improvement in this 3D material world, and the narcissist will get jealous over it. Somebody blows up somebody becomes they become famous on the internet, like on TikTok or something like that, and the narcissist will secretly be jealous of them because they're coming up. My son just texted me. I just love him so much. Okay. And so they're secretly jealous of them because they're coming up in any way, form, or fashion. So it's a form of control, right? If they want to control your joy, they want to control your happiness, they want to control your progression. It's weird, especially when this is a family member, because they're always monitoring you. So you get a boyfriend or a girlfriend or something, now all of a sudden they want to be up in their energy. They're monitoring them. They're trying to see, Are they faithful? Are they good people? Whatever they are. But and if they are good people, then they start the smear campaign in some way. They start trying to tear it down in some way. They get real jealous if you improve in any way, form, or fashion, especially if it has nothing to do with them. Now, if it has something to do with them, right? They co-signed on the car so that you were able to get it, something like that. Now they're like, yeah, she got that hoopty because of me. They're some weird cats. They're envious of every little thing. They're envious of your creativity, your spirituality, because remember, everything they do, they pay somebody else to do it. If it's something creative, they pay somebody to do it. They don't really have a creative core, right? So it's like they'll pay somebody else to do it. So they're jealous of your creativity. They're jealous of your spiritual insight, because their spiritual insight is mimicked. Everything they do is mimicked. Even if they're in the church, they go to the church and they mimic the ladies at the church. They go to the spiritual gatherings and they mimic what everybody else is doing. They don't really have their own spiritual path or their own spiritual calling, because the inside is empty. So they have no internal compass. The people outside of them, the people external of them, that's their internal compass. That's their compass. They're following behind somebody else, what somebody else is doing. If they go off on their path of their career, and it's like a competitive career where they have to really, really try, like people are good at what they do, they'll kind of stand back some, but they're envious of those people who are good at what they do. These are the type of people that if they're jealous of something on the job, they will use their looks and their body and go behind closed doors, basically get their knees dirty to surpass the next person. And they may never surpass the next person. But the fact that they got their knees dirty with the boss and no one else knows about it, in their mind, they're winning. I'm telling you, they'll try to win at all costs. Jealousy becomes a way of keeping control over people. Now, the unhealed empath may not notice that people are jealous. They know something is off, but they can't imagine that their sister or their mother or their brother or their own children could be jealous of them. So it takes the unhealed empath a minute to catch on. Yeah? They may feel a little uneasy. Like, why isn't she happy for me? Or why isn't he happy for me? They may ask themselves questions like that, but they may not be able to narrow it down to jealousy, because why would my mother be jealous of me? Why would my sister or my brother be jealous of me? Why would my best friend be jealous of me? She's my best friend. They be jealous over stupid stuff too. Like your house is cleaner than theirs, or that you have a dog or something that they want. Like they anything. They want the necklace. They want your smile. They want your energy. They want your earrings. Anything. They are weird. They want your energy. Yeah. They'll mimic your style, your demeanor, the way you speak, the way you move your hands when you talk, the way you sway your hips when you walk. They'll mimic anything. Jealousy is the root of all evil, is an understatement when it comes to the narcissist. I couldn't imagine it. Like, everybody feels jealousy or envy every now and then. You know what I mean? It's also like a tinge of jealousy or envy is a good motivator. Let me see, which one is it? Envy is wanting. What is the definition? They're wanting something someone else. No, jealousy is being jealous of something someone else has, does, or who they are. Envy is like, dang, I should be better at selling cars. I should put forth more work, you know, or I should put forth more effort into my uniform, because everybody here, their uniform looks good, but my uniform is kind of wrinkled or whatever. That's envy. A little bit it motivates you to improve yourself. Not that you're competing with the other people, but it's just like, if they can do that, I know I can do better, right? Or I can do just as good. So it kind of kicks you in the butt a little bit and makes you, want to improve yourself, put in the work, right? So there's a difference. So there's a normal human type of energy where it's like, she lost 20 pounds naturally and I gained 10. Now I know I can do better. And so you kind of use that as fuel to better yourself, not necessarily to compete with the next person. But the narcissist, it's always competing with the next person. You have to be below them in their eye in order for them to feel comfortable. I remember one time I went to a bar with a friend of mine. Friend, narcissist, enemy, I don't know. And we were having a good time. I hadn't been out in a really, really long time. And one of my friends, she lives in Atlanta, she was like, girl, you need to get out some. That's your problem. You're not getting out enough. I feel like that's coming again, too, where I need to get out. But she said, you need to get out more. And so I went and bought me an outfit. Yeah, in true Aquarius rising form. It was like some really flashy zebra bell bottom. Honey, I was standing out like a fly on a wedding cake. Had my native head wrap on, my locks down in 2 braids. I stepped that night. And so, in true Aquarius rising form, I was unique and I was different, right? I diverse, but I just recently, maybe in the last 6 months to a year, found out that I was an Aquarius rising. I'd always wondered why. I I just had this different thing about me when it came to dressing and stuff. Like I refer to it as dressing in my avatar, but it was really dressing in, that's that Aquarius energy. So when I found out I was an Aquarius rising, I was pretty excited because up until that point, I thought I was a triple Virgo. And I was going through my paperwork and found my birth certificate and found out no, I wasn't born in the AM. I was born in the PM. And so it switched my chart. It was disturbing and it was exciting at the same time, right? Gave me room to grow. Yeah. So anyways, I stepped out in my Aquarius rising energy. And we were sitting there and we were watching people dance and things of that sort. Every once in a while, I'd get up and dance next to my table. I didn't want to go out on the floor. I had these heels on that were hurting my feet. So the narcissist was sitting there with me. Well, there was this woman over there to the left of me that had this beautiful energy with this man. They were really in sync. They were just, you could tell that he was going to get that night. And she was, I mean, they were just so focused on each other. I don't know if they came there together or if they met that night, but whatever it was, their energy was amazing. Well, the narcissist had everybody's energy in the room. There was an older gentleman there that had a feather in his hat. And she assumed because he had a feather, because I just love my feathers, she assumed that because he had a hat on and a feather in his hat, that I would want that, right? I wasn't paying that man no mind, but I was watching their energy. They go over there and walk up, rub up next to the guy with the feather in his hat. And I'm like, look at this here. I'm reading the energy, right? I'm like, look at this here, right? So anyways, the lady next door, or the lady to the next table, her and this man had this great chemistry together. Now, the narcissist is used to walking in the room and just taking everybody's attention. But they couldn't get this attention of this man that was next to the table with this girl. And so they were standing at this point and they were dancing together and everything. So she walked really close into their energy and got the man's attention. So the man turned from the woman who he had been focused on all night and turned to see where that energy was coming from. And that was the intention. I saw that girl turn around and shoot darts at that narc because she knew what she had done. I'm telling you, it's all about energy now. If you're not reading energy, or if you don't understand overstand what reading energy is, it's a blessing and it's a curse because nothing gets by you and it gets exhausting. That's why empaths stay to themselves. But you want to read the Celestine prophecy. written years ago. They speak about what's happening right now, where energy is how we'll be able to communicate. So anyways, the narc walks by this couple and swipes the dude's energy, swipes his attention. Now she's happy because the dude's attention was away from her. It was a threat to her that this woman, who she didn't know, was extremely happy and was extremely intimate, had this strong, powerful sexual energy going on between this man. We knew neither one of them, but they couldn't stand that it wasn't them that was getting all of that energy from him. And there was a Jamaican dude sitting next on the other table, young dude, right? I have a story. I always have a story. So the Jamaican dude was sitting there with a couple of women, but he was interested in me. And I was like, you have these beautiful women. What are you doing? Oh, I don't. And I looked at the woman. I said, is that you? And she said, no, that ain't me. And I said, why not? And the Jamaican dude said, because I ain't shit. That's why. And I just love that. I love a man that's honest. He said, I ain't about shit. That's why they don't want me. But he was still coming on to me, right? And so this song came on, Jamaican, a reggae song came on. And so he took my hand and we started dancing. And he went all the way down to the floor. Now I got on them heels. And baby, these knees ain't what they used to be. So me going all the way down to the floor was like, it's a no. It's a no for me, right? I might not get back up. But he was behind me and he was dancing. And he brought me down to the floor. But I was actually sitting on his lap. This dude had some good knees. Anyways, it was super fun. And when we got finished dancing, then he stood there next to me with, his young man issues. And I just thought it was so funny. Like, it was looking at standing there next to me, like, look what you did to me. I'm just like, look at this cat. But anyways, it was fun. Getting out of the house is fun. So anyways, the story is, in addition to that, that's what happened. The person looks at me and says, well, yeah, that Jamaican guy likes you. And I said, yeah, he's cute. He's fun, right? And she said, yeah, but you know how they are. They just like anybody. Let me tell you something about these narcs. They can't stand it if they're not the center of attention. They go crazy. And so for the empath that doesn't know how to read energy, what you do is, right, you watch those if you can't read energy, learn to read micro expressions. People cannot hide their micro expressions. It is an expression on their face of what they feel in their heart. And jealousy is one of those ones where their eyes gloss over. They don't blink. They give you that statue face for a split second because they're jealous or they're intimidated or something of that sort. At the end of the day, the reason the narcissist feels all this jealousy and insecurity over practically nothing, right? Anything and everything. You get a 10-cent raise at the job, or something came in, you got some kind of money came in unexpectedly. They are very jealous, greedy. And the main thing is they are entitled. Entitlement is what the narcissist walks with, a sense of entitlement. You don't deserve that hoopty, although they're driving a 2025 Tesla. You don't deserve those new clothes, although they have Dolce and Gabbana, or whatever the names are, in their closet, $2,000 dresses and $3,000 shoes. You don't deserve that promotion. You don't deserve to be happily married. Let me tell you something about these narcs. They be so jealous over people's relationships and so money hungry. I remember one time this dude was married. They went on a vacation, like it was a group vacation to some other country. And the married man invited the narc to go with him, to pretend like they were a guest. Whole time they're there leaving the group and going and doing whatever they're doing. Then he comes back to his wife acting like nothing happened. Just nasty. Do you know the karmic debt that's attached to that? The narcissist doesn't care. I felt bad for that wife and that husband, and I'm sure he'll get what he deserves in the end. However, that's the kind of stuff they'll do. The narcissist breaks up with somebody and they go on to be with their new person, and they're happy with their new person, and they get married to their new person. They have children with their new person. The next thing is, who's the closest one to that person that moved on and got happy? Is it their brother? Is it their sister? Is it their mother? And the narc will get in there with them and work against the person that moved on that's happy. Work against them with slandering their name, the smear campaign. Now, if it's a man, they'll use the smear campaign. Just say, for example, it's a man and the woman moves on. She's married now. She has a baby by this new person and blah, blah, blah. He'll go find the woman's sister and sleep with her. Just as a way of getting back at the person who moved on, the empath that's moved on and that is now happy. He'll sleep with her sister. And she never has to find out that he slept with her sister, but the narcissist knows it in their head. And so in their stupid, warped mind, they're winning in some way. It's entitlement. Entitlement to being the center of attention. Entitlement to being the one that has the most money. Entitlement to being the prettiest one in the room. Entitlement to being the energy, of controlling the energy in the room. They're black magicians. And you got to be able to see them. The best way to get back at a narc is to ignore them. Ignore them. Don't give them your energy. Because that's what they feed on. They can't create their own energy. I don't like my videos to be considered TED Talks because they're not. I want you to learn what these narcissists do. I want to assist you on your journey. You can read the energy. Read the micro expressions. Don't gaslight yourself and second guess and say, oh, that's my mother, that's my brother, that's my father, that's my sister, that's my kid, don't second guess yourself. Trust your intuition. These narcs are nasty. They'll get jealous if you start a business. They'll get better if your apartment's nice. They'll get jealous if your apartment's nicer than theirs. They get jealous over anything because it's a threat to their control over you. It's a direct threat to their status. The girl that's blowing up, that went viral on Instagram, don't even know that narc. But it's a threat to their status that someone could be famous over a dance. Doing a trendy dance, doing one of these trends, and they go viral. The narcissist will get jealous over that. It's entitlement. So they have a fragile core. They're insecure. Inside, they're inadequate. Outside the shell, they dress it up and they walk around with confidence like they are so secure in themselves. But deep inside, it's very fragile, jealous, insecure core. They're entitled. They're entitled to your energy, your time, and anything else that you have going on. And the only way the narcissist will ever be happy for you is if they perceive that they have something to do with that. The best thing is to go no contact, get away from them. You know the deal, shut them down. Well, that's all I have for you today, empaths, here on Closing the Gap, where we make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. I don't want to give you TED Talks. I want to give you information that can assist you in your growth. Well, thank you for tuning into my channel, Closing the Gap. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment. And if you're really feeling my vibe, don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you know the next time I upload. It's called reciprocity, and reciprocity is good karma. We'll chat with you later here on Closing the Gap. Y'all have a good day.